Hey guys, this is your host Mukul and from Sale to Sale. Today is a really good day. Beautiful weather in Atlanta, and we're still in the pandemic. I don't know, man, if it's open for the economy got open. The shops got open because of economy, or it's not really Corona. I don't really get it. All I'm focused is taking this time, because I always used to complain about the time. Now I have the time. I'm taking this time to fully master what I do in my career, in my profession. And today I'm going to talk about few objections which I came across. So the number one objection on objections on closing is, can I do it if I'm introvert? Yes, absolutely. The biggest skill, if you are an introvert, the biggest strength, I would say, not the skill, if you're an introvert, is listening. That's what I've noticed is with some of my closer. In fact, the number one closer in our team is an introvert. He talks less. Now you have your own definition of introvert, extrovert. I don't know. Introverts tend to be more on the listening side of things. They are more laid back. They're a little bit shy. In a gathering, they might be open with their family, but typically they're reserved, right? They're reserved on the side. So can I do it if I'm introvert? Yes, absolutely. You have the biggest strength of listening, and that makes you ask the right questions. So if you are an introvert, do not worry about not talking to people. In fact, you have the greatest skill of not talking to people, because then you can listen and ask the right questions. And guess what? Closing is not about talking, it's listening. 80% listening and asking the right questions, like a doctor, right? He listens to what you're going through, what you're going through, and with your disease and with the challenges, and then they provide solutions. So can I do it if I'm an introvert? Yes, absolutely. Do I have to convince people to buy? No, let people buy. That's what I promote here. Let people buy. Do not. Otherwise, there is no difference between traditional salesman and you as a closer, remote closer. Let people buy. Help people in making their buying decision. So understand the distinction between, do I have to convince people to buy? No. You cannot convince people to buy. If you go hard on closing, you go on a hard close, chances are it could come back as a refund. So for you, and that's risky. If you do it over and over, you get used to it, it's risky. Rather than that, in a long run, in a big scheme of things, let people buy. Understand how human psychology works. Understand how they are, what is the buyer life cycle, what do they know, where they are with their current situation, where do they want to go, what is the gap what is the challenge and the gap they have right now. Can you or your product provide that solution? Okay. And typically when I teach closing, I teach a very I call it predictable and scientific, where I let people ask the price. It's a very straightforward thing. Sometimes when you are doing the hard close, it sometimes feels like you are being pushed. You're pushing, and nobody likes being pushed. So do you need to convince people to buy? No. You help and serve people to help in their buying decision by removing their objections, handling their objections from a very professional point of view. Okay. Number 3, do I have to be salesy and pushy? No. Again, the whole idea of closing is, you having to sit back and listen to clients. What are their objections? What is that they know about the product? What is that they want out of the product or the service? And what is the gap? You being salesy and pushy, the moment the customers will smell it. And that's a very, I would say, awkward situation, which puts customer, on a pressure point, and they can really smell it that, I do not want to be here. I do not like it. And over and over, it happens to each of us when we go. Usually it happens a lot with car salesmen, real estate. They tend to show things what they want you to see. and typically it's something which is going out of stock or something like that. So that has been my experience. And as a closer, you're on the opposite side. You're very professional about things. You don't even talk about the product or anything until and unless they ask you. That means if they don't ask you, then that means they don't have interest, or they know fully about it, they're ready to go, or they don't have the interest. And that's not a issue for a closer. That's a marketing thing, right? They're not convinced in the product itself. They don't see the value yet. So that's a point, that's a time, you should ask them in a way where what is the reason, what is stopping you to make a decision on the product? Is there anything I can help you out with, rather than you having to push for the product, talk about benefits and product benefits of the product. It's all hot air. The customers' ears are not really open anymore. It's just hot air they are seeing. All right, the next one, what feeling of not good enough because of not mastering the skill. Listen, a lot of people, they hung up that they're not good enough with the skill, even if they know closing. You don't listen. The whole idea of, and that's where I teach the agile methodology of learning things. You implement, you learn something, you implement, right? You will either know that it worked or it didn't. If it didn't work, then we will find out why it didn't work. You ask questions, you ask the right question, why it didn't work out, what went right, what went wrong. And market feedback is the king. Okay, market feedback is the king. You having to be mastery of something should come from implementation, not from just theoretical learning, especially with closing. And that's what I encourage you to do. That's what I will encourage you to listen more, to push yourself in a way where you implement on daily basis, rather than you having to sit back and just rely on somebody else and feel that I'm not good enough in the mastery of I don't know much, right? Go ahead and get rejections, go ahead and fail, face your fears. Who said that it's gonna be easy? It's simple, it's not easy. So if you want to be in this space, you would have to learn how to face rejections, how to face your fear. And listen to me, the first step is always the hardest. The second, third, fourth, fifth, they're all the same. But the first step is always the hardest, okay? So you having to feel inside that I'm not good enough, or I haven't mastered the skill yet, I would highly, highly encourage you to, whatever you have learned, implement it. Implement it in the market and see how market responds. See what kind of response do you get from market, okay? Fear of sales. Do I have to generate leads? No, you do not have to generate leads. You are a closer. You are not a marketer. Okay, you're not prospecting. So prospecting is part of marketing and sales. It's like a junction between marketing and sales, right? Marketing is also lead generation, right? They have the hook story offer. They have a hook on your product, on the product or the service, and they generate leads out of it. Similar goes with the prospecting. There is probably no hook. You're just giving them a call, and there are appointment setters for that. So you being a closer, you get the leads in your pipeline, and you have to close them. That's your job. Okay. Is this skill enough to replace my income? I don't know. You have to answer that for yourself. What is your income? And I highly suggest whatever is your income, forget about income. Look at your expenses. Whatever is your expenses, have 6 months of expenses in reserve first. Okay. That's number one. Number two is, let's say you make $1,000 and your expenses are $500, and $500 is something which you can save, right? So you should have at least $2,500 in your bank account. That's number one, which 500 into 5, right? Number two is, in order for you to replace your income, you should make $1,000 from closing at least for 3 months, at least for 3 to 6 months, I would say, at least 3 to 6 months. in order for you to evaluate that, okay, now I'm making the money consistently, I'm ready, and now I should be able to replace my I've replaced my income, I should be able to quit my job. So take a wise decision on that. You know, I've made more mistakes, I've done a lot of wrong things, quit my job just to start businesses, and it didn't work out because I didn't understand the overheads behind. Luckily, in closing, you don't have overheads, so you can leverage that. I hope this helped. If you have any more objections, join my Facebook group below, it's free, and put your objections down there, and hopefully we get to talk inside the Facebook group. Enjoy your time, be safe in this pandemic. I'm truly sending you all the good vibes here, and with that, talk to you soon. Bye.